problem where we solve how to delete a node anywhere in the list. So here's a list. We want to delete a node. Add. So let's say you're given this list here. Forget all this pointers that I have here. These are just visual images to help explain this problem. So this is the list you're given, the highlighted one. That's what you're given. The goal is to delete at position 1. So in this case, the 5 node. And as you can see the result, the 5 is gone. You have the head pointing to the toe. So 3 things you always have to do. Not always, but most of the time when dealing with list, I create a copy to the head, which I call PT a pointer. Then, and before we start our loop, before we start traversing, I ask myself a simple question. Before we even move to the next one as well, we'll create a variable called count and we'll set it to 0. Because we do not know, because there's no random search, there's no random, like, you can't look for a value in the list. You have to traverse until you find it. So we need like a counter to let us know when we meet the index value. So before we start with our loop, we need to check the first value inside the list if index is actually 0 as opposed to 1. So we'll ask ourselves, does index equals count? Remember, count is 0. This is assuming index is 0. We have to check the first one. If index is 0, if that's the case, what we'll do is we'll just move our head pointer to the next thing on the list. That's all we'll do. Right away we have deleted this and we'll return the head and we're done. But in this problem, that's not the case. Index equals 1. But since we've made the first check, as soon as we start the loop, we would increase our counter to 1. Because we've already checked the first node, and that's not the case, and it doesn't match with index. So now we know that index equals 1, so we'll check, does index equals count? Yes, it does. So since that's the case, it doesn't even have to be 1. Let's set it to 2. So now, as soon as we start the loop, count equals 1. Does index equals count? Nope, it does not. All right, since it doesn't, move our pointers to the next one. And then count is now 2. Does index equals 2? Yes, it does. Now we can do what we usually do by setting the next of this to the next of that. So let's continue. So let's call this delete at position, delete anywhere. So again, the same thing, giving a head, and you're given the index, and you're gonna return a pointer to the new node anyway. So we're gonna check if head equals null. If head equals null, then you return head. Else, so here's what I mean. We'll create our counter called count 0. Now that we have a count, we'll create our copy to the head. So this line here is this pointer. Copy to the head is going to point to the same thing as the head. And then we need to ask, in the first case, if index equals count. So we're checking to make sure that it's not the 0th position. That's what we're doing. If it is the 0th position, head equals head pointer dot next, or head dot next, doesn't matter, whichever one. Return head. So this takes care of that, if it is. Now, if it's not that, we're gonna start our loop. But before we start our loop, let's move counter to 1 because we've already checked the 0th position. So now counter is at 1. Let's create our pointer called current. Let's create our next. Pointer's next. So these two over here current and next. All right, so now inside our loop, we'll check if count now equals index. Wherever that happens, currents.next equals next.next. So we skip that. So we skip wherever next is at, and then return ahead. Don't forget to do our traversing. What makes us traverse is this right here. And that's it. And we need to, if any of this does not happen, if it's not there, just return the head. All right, so we should be able to delete it anyway. So let's delete something. Let's remove these two deletes that we have here. You know what, before we call delete anyway, let's see what our list looks like first. Okay, so we have 1, true, false, hello, and this. So our list consists of 3 of 5 items. I'm gonna delete position 1, so the true is gonna go away. Let's do that. There we go. So the true should go away, and it does. I'm gonna delete position, the last one, the first one, the 1 should go away. Let's just copy it again. In this case, no, let's just leave it. The 1 is gonna go away from here. So let's do that. Did I save the work? Yep. Oh, the 1 is position 0. Yep, as you can see, the 1 goes away. Our list is this, not this, is this. So the 1 goes away, as you can see. I'm gonna delete the last one. So the last value goes away. Let me print before I delete so you can see where we're at. And do a little console here. Say this is our list. And then our action. Our action is to delete. Okay. So we're deleting the last one. In this case, this is position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th position. There we go, it's gone. Awesome. See you in the next video.